Gotta take a deep breath after watching that game. Welcome back to another episode of the Giant Topic Podcast. I'm your host, Christian Cruz. You guys already know you can find us on all social media platforms under the Giant Topic. Let's dive into this video. This would have been the first win for the New York Giants in Dallas in over 9 years. This was the most amount of points scored in rivalry history with the Dallas Cowboys. Last year, this was the worst deep passing offense in the NFL. And we saw them throwing the ball around like it was nothing today. There's a lot of blame to go around, whether it's penalties, which we'll get to that in a second, whether it's Shane Bowen having the defense play soft towards the end of regulation, practically handing the Dallas Cowboys a field goal to bring it into overtime. There's a lot of blame to go around. It's not just on one person. But bad teams will always find ways to lose. And the New York Giants are just that. They're a bad team. Now, granted, I say that despite them having a very good performance offensively today and defensively too. There were some things that I saw that I really liked, but there was a lot of things in this game that left you very frustrated as a Giants fan when you're watching it. Now, penalties, when you have 14 penalties totaling for 160 yards, we have a problem. When 9 of those 14 penalties come in the first half, we absolutely have a problem. When 4 out of those 9 penalties come from one player, and that player being James Hudson, and he's arguing with coaches about why he's getting benched after the first drive of the game, we absolutely have a problem. The blame goes all around. It is not on just one unit. But this team had an opportunity to put Dallas away early, and they couldn't do that. The first 2 drives should have resulted in points. What did it result in? Field goals. Something that we've been saying all offseason on our X account. Something that Tyrell Tracy himself said on the Nightcap podcast with Shannon Sharp and Chad Johnson. When the Giants are in the red zone, they need to score points. They cannot afford to kick field goals. They're not going to win many games that way. And lo and behold, the first 2 drives, they're kicking field goals when they should have scored touchdowns. Now, again, bad teams will find ways to lose. That's just what we know. And as Giants fans, for me, and I want you guys to, if you're a Giants fan, I really want you to get in the comment section and tell me if you understand how I felt. Even in moments where the Giants were down 1 point or they had a lead, due to the Giants' recent history of not being able to overcome those obstacles where they're down 1 score or they're ahead and they need to keep a lead and they fumble it away or, they just shoot themselves in the foot and the Giants lose the game. I couldn't even enjoy it. I couldn't even enjoy being ahead of the Dallas Cowboys. I couldn't even tell myself, okay, we're down by 1 point. If we just do this, because in the back of my mind, I'm just like freaking out due to what we've seen from the New York Giants. And, you can make a very solid argument that this was the best offensive performance that we've seen from the Brian Daboll era. I would even go as far as to say from the Joe Judge era, from the Pat Shurmur era, the Ben McAdoo era, this was a very good performance offensively from the New York Giants. I mean, the offense had a day today. I mean, Russ had 153 yards in the first quarter alone. I mean, that goes all the way back to 2019, with that being Russ's best statistical quarter. I mean, and that says a lot considering the fact that this is the 3rd team that he's been with since leaving the Seattle Seahawks. On top of that, Russ was 29 for 38, 454 yards, 3 touchdowns with 1 interception. That interception at the end of the game, just I'm trying to think of the words, just beyond backbreaking. I understand that you're kind of feeling out the defense there. It's 2nd and 13, but You can't do that there, Russ. And Russ had a phenomenal game today. I mean, you saw players like Malik Neighbors, who was 9 for 167 yards, 2 touchdowns. Wandale Robinson, another big game. 8 receptions for 142 yards, 1 touchdown. He had a couple big plays up the seam, one for 51 yards, another for 25 yards. I mean, this offense was clicking. Even when it came with Cam Scatabo getting some plays, running the ball, he had a beautiful run with Jackson Dart on the field. Which I mean, I didn't think we were going to see Jackson Dart today unless the New York Giants were losing this game, and I'm talking like by 2 or 3 touchdowns. But you saw them insert Jackson Dart in the lineup twice. Actually, I believe it was 3 times. One of them resulted into him taking the ball back and then slipping in the backfield. But offensively, I thought this team looked good. Russell Wilson attacking downfield, which that's something that I really wanted to see going into this game. You know, I said on our pregame video, I said if you can't attack downfield with Deron Bland being out of the lineup, Micah Parsons not being in the lineup, we have a serious problem here. When you pay guys like Darius Slayton, who he had himself a pretty nice game today too. We saw a nice moonball from Russ to Darius Slayton. But when you have guys like Darius Slayton who are burners and you're just using them as decoys, what did you give them the extension for? Like, what are we doing here? Now, again, with Malik Neighbors having the game that he had today, he just further cemented why, in my honest opinion, he's a top 5 wide receiver. In my honest opinion, I think when it's all said and done, he will be the best wide receiver in this division, no doubt. He was just a problem for the Cowboys today. He had a crucial drop. I personally think that Russell Wilson could have led him a little bit better. It was a little behind him, but ultimately, Malik Neighbors, you have to come down with that. And we saw multiple plays for over 20 yards, which, as a Giants fan, we really haven't seen that from the offense. And that's why you bring Russell Wilson in for games like today. This is why you bring Russell Wilson in to attack downfield against a weak secondary, to lead your team, in the fourth quarter, bringing it to overtime. I mean, that fourth down play to Wandale was just something that we as Giants fans have not seen in a long time. I mean, this is why you paid Russell Wilson the money that you paid him. And considering the fact that you don't have Andrew Thomas in the lineup and you insert James Hudson slash Marcus Bowe, who we'll talk about in a sec, this offense was clicking. It does leave me a bit excited to see how this offense is going to look with Jackson Dart. But for now, with Russell Wilson, it does have me excited to see how are they going to look while Russell Wilson is under center. We saw glimpses of this style of offense with Tyrod Taylor, right? We saw that, we always talk about that big play to Darius Slayton against the Rams or the big play that Slayton had against the Philadelphia Eagles with Tyrod under center. But today, you saw multiple people getting targets downfield, and that's something that we have not seen from the New York Giants in quite some time, and it changed today. So offensively, I liked what I saw today. They converted more third downs today than what we saw last week. Again, Cam Scatabo, he had himself a solid game today. Defensively, right? I thought the defense had a pretty good game today, despite how I feel about Shane Bowen having the defense play towards the end of the regular game. Besides that, I thought Brian Burns came to play. He had another sack today. Could have had another 2-sack game today. That's going to make him 3 on the year. Kayvon Thibodeau had a big-time sack on Dak Prescott on third down. It's going to be his 2nd on the year. Abdul Carter, he had a nice pressure today that led to a Drew Phillips interception. Abdul Carter, it's not going to really show on the stat sheet, but I mean, he's getting back there. He's going to have a game where he completely disrupts the opposing team's offense. And you saw Dak Prescott look uncomfortable today. And that's something that we really needed to see from this defense. And I said that in our pregame video as well. Make Dak uncomfortable. get back there. You have guys like Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon, Abdul Carter. There's no reason as to why you guys can't be able to get back there and to challenge this Dallas Cowboys offense. And I felt like that's what they did today. Flott looked pretty good out there too. I thought he had some pretty solid reps, especially considering the fact that Deontay Banks didn't have his best performance today. And that's going to be a matchup that we're going to see until they declare who's going to be their cornerback too. Right now, if you were to ask me, I'm going to give the nod to Cordell Flott. Cordell Flott, he had himself a pretty solid game, almost had an interception in the red zone. So I liked what I saw from there. Drew Phillips had a very impressive game today. I mean, a lot of people were talking about how him and CeeDee Lamb were going to look. There's a little bit of tension there between the two of them, and you saw that today on full display. But Drew Phillips had an excellent game today. Had that a couple nice pass breakups. Had that interception from the Abdul Carter pressure. He had a game-saving tackle against Tolbert. So there was a lot that I saw from Drew Phillips today that left me feeling very confident in the young man, and I think that he's going to be a nice foundation piece for your defense going forward. We saw a little bit of Elijah Garcia today, who had a nice sack on Dak Prescott. Like I said, defensively, outside of towards the end of the regulation game, I thought the defense looked good. I thought they had themselves a day. Now, there were some things that I did not like from this defense. I think that the run defense is still a concern for the New York Giants. You saw big plays being ripped from Javonte Williams. He had himself a nice touchdown for 30 yards due to poor tackling and guys just missing assignments. Can't have that. The run defense, it's going to be an issue until they can have someone that they truly feel can solidify themselves next to Dexter Lawrence. It looked better today than what it did last week, but it still didn't look great today. In my honest opinion, you know, uh, if I could give it a grade, I would give it a C, and that's being polite. I'm gonna give it a C. Um, Sticking with the defensive side of the ball, the Giants' defense could not stop going off sides. We saw 3 penalties alone on the Giants' defense in terms of getting offsides. Cannot have that. They need to play more disciplined. And again, I thought the defense played soft towards the ending of the game. And I think personally that falls a lot on Shane Bowen. I understand that the defense is feeling a bit gassed out there. You saw, especially in overtime, Brian Burns having his hands on, his legs, trying to gas for air. You saw players on the Cowboys side of the ball doing that as well. I mean, 44 points going into overtime, yeah, it's going to happen. It doesn't matter what team you are. Your players are going to get gassed when you're able to have that many points scored and you're going into overtime. It's just going to happen. But again, James Hudson, 4 penalties alone. I have it here. 2 unnecessary roughness penalties, 2 false starts penalties, and that was all on one drive. That was all on one drive in the first quarter. The first drive for the New York Giants. And then they benched him. And then you see, the live broadcast panning to James Hudson screaming at Brian Dable and Carmen Brashillo and having players and everyone trying to calm him down. I'm sorry, but when you've played as bad as James Hudson has played in training camp, in the preseason, last week, and now today, for you to be yelling at anybody, the goal that you have, James Hudson, to be doing that. Seriously, I really hope that Brian Dable does not trot out James Hudson. And I'm honestly looking at Joe Shane here. Joe Shane, when you look at the money that they gave James Hudson, it is absolutely laughable what they gave him. Because they inserted Marcus Bowe, their rookie, and their offensive line looked stable. Wow, shocker. I said in our pregame video last week, going into this game, that the Giants should play Marcus Bowe at left tackle. I don't trust James Hudson. And they played Marcus Bowe against the Commanders. Or excuse me, they played James Hudson against the Commanders. He looked awful. They played him for one drive against the Dallas Cowboys. He looked awful. Insert Marcus Bowe, he looked comfortable at left tackle. And that's what you want to see. And I'm very excited for his progression as a player because The Giants haven't been able to hit on offensive tackle, let alone offensive lineman, period, in quite some time outside of Andrew Thomas. So I really liked what I saw from Marcus Bowe today. I really liked what I saw from Cam Scatterbo. I really liked what I saw from Abdul Carter. The rookies came to play today. And, I mean, this is a game that the New York Giants should have won, flat out. And there's no moral victories over here. Don't get me wrong. I feel good about some of the things that I saw. But at the end of the day, the Giants are 0-2, and your home opener is against the Kansas City Chiefs, which many people are going to probably put them as 0-3. But man, the Giants are going to want this one back. They're going to want this one back. Um, to lose the game the way that you did today, I mean, it's heartbreaking. It's absolutely heartbreaking because you expect better from this team. And while I didn't expect this kind of a performance from the New York Giants today, I did state in our pregame video that I think, or thought at least, that we would see a better performance from the Giants, and we absolutely did today. Um, and we'll see. We'll see how this team looks against the Kansas City Chiefs. Um, you still have Patrick Mahomes back there, so that doesn't really matter. Um, but again, just a tough loss by the New York Giants. A very tough loss. And Giants fans, we're going to be talking about this one probably all season. Definitely for the rest of the week. But this might be the game that we speak about all season that the New York Giants should have won. And many people had them losing this game. I said in our pregame video, I thought the New York Giants could win this game. Why shouldn't they win this game? And look at what we saw today. So, yeah, that'll do it. Um, Giants are going to fall to 0-2 in the division and record standings as well. Just not a good game by the New York Giants with how they ended it. Overall, like I said, there's some positives to take away from this Giants team. There's some negatives to take away from this Giants team. You got to tip your hat to the Dallas Cowboys, but the Giants should have won this game. Simply put, they should have won this game. But let us know your thoughts below. I really want to hear what you guys have to say. Get in the comment section. Hit this like button. Hit the subscribe button as well. We're trying to get to 600 subscribers. So definitely do us that favor if you can. And we'll see you guys on the next video. We'll probably do a live stream as well because I really need to talk about how I'm feeling about this New York Giants team. So let us know your thoughts below. We'll see you guys on the next video. Be easy.